So I'll start recording here. So yes, today we're going to be looking at what it is to see God or to see Elohim or see the Creator. Again, for those who are word sensitive, which I am not. So, and at some point, as I explained before, we'll start diving down on particular terms because I know we're getting ready to join into Most High willing next week, which should be January 24th, if I'm not mistaken. We'll start 2026, at least on this calendar. We'll take this look into um, this study on the Messiah, which we will be looking at. And then in that, we'll be looking at, again, vocabulary words and language, etc., through the scriptures. So we're looking at today seeing Elohim or seeing the Creator or seeing God. And I want to help us to paint this picture because there are times when people are in despair and they call out, they're crying out, and in their estimation, they're not getting this result. They're like, well, nothing's really happening, or they don't see things happening. And generally, they can't see things happening because they may not understand what it is to see. And it almost is akin to having a conversation with someone and you ask them, do you see what I am saying? Well, no, no, I do not. And what does that normally mean? That normally means I don't comprehend what you're saying. But if we were to take it literal, at least in the English language, and it translate the same way in the Hebrew language, I cannot see what you're saying because there's no images coming out of your mouth when you speak. In this way, when people are seeking the Creator, they're looking for something that sometimes they will never find because they don't know what to look for. So seeing is germane or important. And what do I mean by germane or important or relative? Defining the word see is important to be able to see your creator. Now, again, someone looks at the ocean and they say, they're praying and like, oh, I can't find you. Well, turn around and look at the ocean. Like, is he the ocean? Because you have people who teach that he is his creation. Well, in one sense, yes, because the ocean is a testament of a word that was issued out of his mouth that was made manifested in tangible reality that is permanent, meaning it's not going anywhere. And I know, sometimes people either have read or they're under the influence of someone who is teaching them that the earth is going to burn all up. Well, no, that's never going to happen because the prophet said it's never going to happen. And I put more trust in the prophet Jeremiah than I put trust in anybody who lives in this age with me because I believe Jeremiah interacted with and saw the creator. So when we think about seeing, it's important to define like what do we mean by seeing, right? And it's not something that you always literally visually behold. That is the same way it translates in the Hebrew, and we will look at that from that thought, right? So our objectives, again, we want to understand the biblical concept of seeing the Creator or seeing God or Elohim, and then examine the conditions and posture required to see Him. And then the third is to examine how seeing God or Elohim or Creator or Yahuwah or Yah, whichever word makes people feel more comfortable, uh, how we want to examine how seeing Him is often linked to experiencing His presence in our lives. And again, I really enjoy the natural created world. The only problem I have with the world is the same problem the creator has with the world, is all of his creation is obedient to him. The only part of his creation that is not subject to him is the one he gave free will, which is mankind. Chipmunks, chipmunk, squirrel, squirrel, ants, ant. They do exactly what they're told to do in perpetuity. If I look back 300 years ago, ants was doing the same thing. They were gathering together, working as a community, you know, burying the dead, having funeral rites, following the queen ant, reproducing themselves. They're doing the same thing. Termites been doing the same thing. It's only mankind who lacks the experience of the creator in their life because they want to make a choice to worship the antithesis of the creator, which is either themselves or what we come to know as the devil. That's just kind of cut and dry. So those are objectives. In terms of the Hebrew, we're going to look at this thought, and the pronunciation of the word is panim. The Hebrew letters are the P, the N, the H, the Pe, Nun, and He. And the basic sense of the word panim is a face or presence, surface, beyond, toward. So in this basic sense of panim, which means face, if we were to see the creator's face in Hebrew, they never understood it to be looking at some entity the way that you are all looking at some device. Or if you go to your refrigerator and open the face of the refrigerator, which is the door, you would see all the things that's in it. The Hebrews didn't understand that when they saw the face of Elohim, that they were looking at a creature, that they didn't think of it like that. And I'm encouraging people not to think of it like that because as much as people indict the English language, and when I say they indict it, oh, the Greek, the English, I'm saying I don't think people understand English. And I'm saying if you don't understand English, I'm sure you can't understand Hebrew. Because if you think seeing, every time somebody uses the word in English, they're talking about something you behold with your eyesight. It's not even looking like that in English. So it's the same concept in Hebrew. Panim, the word in the basic sense is the face. The face is also equated with the presence or to be before or toward, like looking at. Uh, and in this case, the creator. So we'll be looking at that thought of the panim or the face, or which is essentially to see. Now, panim literally means face, but unlike modern usages, it does not primarily describe facial features. Again, sometimes I'm saying this and it may sound facetious, and I'm saying of my own study, and I'm encouraging everybody to not just listen to a Bible study or a Sabbath or a lecture. I'm saying just piece by piece. You don't have to do it all next week or by this week. I need to come to his conclusion. No. But you do or should take a look at, does the creator really have body parts? And I say that over and over, and sometimes it sounds facetious. I don't think he has a face. I don't think he has an arm, nor do I think he has a buttocks or a digestive system. I don't think that. I don't think he has a tongue. Like, that maple syrup on that pancake was amazing. Can he present himself like that? See, I'm not here to limit him. But it's important to know that when the Hebrews used the word panim, which is literally the word face, they didn't use it like people to describe today, where you say, oh, see my face, and like, oh, no, I need to see you in the face. And they look at facial features. Like, well, how big is the creator's nose? As I say all the time, if heaven is his throne and earth is his footstool, how big is his foot? Like, does he wear a size 2 million? I mean, where do we stop with this? But the point is that the Hebrew thought panim communicates orientation and relational presence, not anatomy. It's not built on anatomy. So when you hear the word panim, which is face in Hebrew, and you are looking at Yah's face, you're looking at his related presence to you. And notably, panim is always plural form, even when it refers to one face. So I don't know, but when the text says the eyes of Yah are in every place, beholding the good and the evil, I don't know how big his face is and how many eyes he has that he can see me here in America and somebody else in China and somebody else in Russia and somebody say, I don't necessarily think he has a bunch of eyes. That's not what I conceive, but I conceive that his presence is ubiquitous, meaning it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So we'll start off in Genesis chapter 1. I have to hold the questions until we get through because I want to get this wrapped up in a certain amount of time. We'll start at Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1 when you get it. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1. And we're going to look at verses 1 through 5. If somebody wants to read it.
Was that 1 through 5?
Yes, sir.
Genesis 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, Let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and called the darkness night. And the evening and the morning were the first day.
So here we have this part of this created world, and then his Ruach, which we've been looking at over the last 6 or so weeks, and whenever we started and concluded that study, um, moved on the face of the waters, right? And he created the known world. We'll skip 1 and 26 because that's not really relative to here. But then the question is, can God or can Elohim or can Yah be seen? And if I asked each one of you, can you see him or have you ever seen him? My hope is that most of y'all would say no. Like, have you physically beheld him with your eye? My hope is that most of y'all would say no. But then again, if I asked you, had you seen him? My hope is that most of you would say yes. Because what does it mean to see? And this is what we're examining. In Genesis chapter 32, let's take a look at Bereshit chapter 32. And we'll start to explore a little more what does it mean to see your maker? And again, that word face or panim in Hebrew, uh, it's not see, but it is the same ideal to behold or to be in the presence of. And that's the route we're examining today. So Genesis chapter 32 and verse 25, when you get it.
Genesis 32 and 25. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. Shall I continue?
Yes, sir. Go down to 30.
Oh, I'm sorry. Genesis 32:26. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaks. And he said, I will not let you go, except you bless me. And he said unto him, What is my name? What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince thou hast power with Elohim and with men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, Tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, Wherefore is it that you should ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of that place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved.
All right, so this is the account of Jacob wrestling with an angelic force or an angel, right? How this happens, again, didn't happen to me. Do I believe it happened? Certainly, it's written down. And in his interaction with this angel, He asked for the angel's name. His thigh was put out of joint, which essentially means he had a limp with his walk, as far as we understand. And then in verse 30, he says, and Jacob called the name of the place Peniel. Now, if we look this up, it is the same root word of panim, which he had an experience in this place. Now, some people say, well, did he actually see Elohim? Well, this Elohim, for example, is a broader word that is a plural word that means mighty ones, which is plural. And if he saw the heavenly host that is represented of the majestic creator, then he also saw the creator, right? And that's in short form. But whatever he saw or whatever he engaged with, he understood it to say, I've seen the face of Elohim face to face, and my life is preserved. He had an interaction there. And these interactions were labeled as face to face, this experience. Now, again, I'm telling you, he didn't see the creator who made the things written in Genesis, but I'm telling you at the same time, he saw the creator. And how can you say both? Because the experience and the Hebrew thought the panim is the seeing of. Psalms chapter 105. Psalms chapter 105. And the same thought is carried over in the Psalms. So we're looking at Psalms chapter 105.
Got it.
And you can read it, verse 4, when you get it. Psalms 105 and verse 4.
Psalms 105, verse 4. Seek Yahuwah and his strength. Seek his face always.
So it's saying, seek him and his strength and seek his face always. Well, the question would begin to be, how do you seek his face? Like, do you see him? Because if I wanted to see all of your faces, I would say, can y'all all cut on your camera? But how do you seek his face, right? Well, Jacob was seeking his face through experience because Jacob made a decision that he's going to follow the mighty one of his father, and his father made a decision that he's going to follow the mighty one of his father, and the story goes on, right? So through the experience and interaction with the maker, this is the seeking of his face. But it's saying, don't just seek his face and his strength for now. It's saying, seek it forevermore, which means in perpetuity, we have to engage with our maker. But then we're asking the question, which we just asked, can God be seen? Well, Jacob just said he saw him face to face and he lived. Now, the text here is telling us to seek his face. Well, let's see what Exodus chapter 24 says. Shemot, or Exodus chapter 24, and then we'll pick it up at verse 9.
I got it.
Yes, sir.
All right, so Exodus 24:9. And Moshe took the blood. Oh, I'm sorry. And Moshe went up. Also Aharon, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 elders of Israel. And they saw the Elohim of Israel, and under his feet paved like a paved work of sapphire stones, and like the heavens and like the heavens for brightness. Yet he did not stretch out his hand against the chief of the children of Israel. And they saw Elohim, and they ate and drank.
All right. Now, people, and again, I don't argue with people to this extent. See, right here, they saw his feet. Listen, whatever they saw, I don't know. Was his foot literally made out of sapphire stone? It said it was a paved work of sapphire stone. I mean, so his feet, whatever color sapphire, is they green or they red, or did they just see some glowing image and they like, whatever that is, that's this entity that we're dealing with. I don't know what they saw. I mean, the text is describing it, but I wasn't next to them. So the text is telling me they saw the Elohim of Israel. Okay, well, what else does it say? And they did eat and drink. Okay, verse 12.
Verse 12. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, come up to me on the mountain and be there, while I give you tablets of stone, and the Torah and the command which I have written to teach them.
So here he's telling us, listen, not only did they see him, they did eat and drink. And he told Moses, hey man, come over here, I need to talk to you. Whatever this scene is, whatever it is, the text is saying people saw him. And again, you could also say they had an experience with him. Now, do I believe that they literally looked and beheld? No, no, I don't believe that. Why? Because other texts will say he's invisible, no man can see him. If he apparently he radiates vibrant light from his being. And I think if you can't even look at the sun, did they see something? Yes. Now, from my understanding, whatever is radiating from this being, which is this eminent light, you can't look at the sun and scientists tells you it's 93 million miles away. I don't think you can be that close to the creator and look right on him. That's my viewpoint. And that viewpoint is kind of formed on things that I'm extrapolating out of the scripture. So here in John chapter 1, so I don't know what they saw. And again, we're not explaining all of John right now because that's not my point. But in what we would call Big John or John chapter 1, it makes these other statements about seeing the Creator, right? And again, for those who are students of the Bible, meaning you're really trying to figure it out, uh, it took me a long time to go back and forth and understand, did they see, did they not see, what did they see, etc. And I'm resolved at this point more than I was, 14, 16, 18, 20 years ago. John chapter 1 and verse 18, if you would. John 1 and 18.
1 and 18.
Yes, sir.
No one has ever seen Elohim. All came to be through him. The only brought forth Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he did declare.
All right. Now, John is making the argument that nobody has ever seen Elohim. Now, take your time and study it. Whatever John is saying, he has Exodus in mind. Whatever he's saying, like to physically behold the Creator, whatever John is saying, he said, oh, no, nobody ever did that. He said, well, you've seen, this one that we come to know as Yeshua, but nobody has ever seen Elohim, whatever that is, God, Elohim, Theos, like whatever that is. John's making this argument. Now, we're not dissecting that today. We'll do that at another time. But John chapter 14 and verse 1, because this statement was also made. John chapter 14, because somebody picked it up in verse 1 through 8.
You there? I'm there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. You can read this.
Hallelujah. John 14, verse 1. Let not your heart be troubled. Believe ye in Elohim. Believe ye also in me. If you believe in Elohim, believe ye also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also. And whither I go, ye know, and you know the way.
Keep going.
Thomas said unto him, Master, we know not whither you go, and how can we know the way? And Jesus said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man come unto the Father but by me. Verse 7. If ye had known me, you should have known my Father also. And from henceforth you know him and have seen him. Philip said unto him, Master, show us the Father, and it sufficeth us. Yahusha said unto him, Have I been with you so long, and yet you have not known me, Philip? He that has seen the Father, he that has seen me has seen the Father. And how saith then, Show us the Father?
All right. So whatever is being said here, and we looked at this a few weeks ago, and when we started looking at this, we were taking notice that when he's making the statement, "Show us the Father, and it suffices us," right? When he's making that statement, one of the things that we saw and that we noticed is that the statement was made. And when the statement was made, he made one statement to the Pharisees and he made a total different statement to the Sadducees. He told the Sadducees, Where I'm going, you can't go. And they said, Well, what are you going to do? Take his own life? What are you going to go to the Gentiles? Where can you go that we can't go? But he told his disciples, Where I'm going, you can go. And then he told the Pharisees, You've never seen, this is John chapter 5, you've never seen the Father at any time. But he's telling his disciples, You've seen him and know him. When you see me, you see him. Now, whatever those words mean, the writer still has Exodus in mind. Messiah still has Exodus in mind. So, can you see the Creator? And I'm saying a part of the way that you see him is through experiencing and interacting with him. And some people are going to keep looking around and they're never going to see him because they're always looking for some sign or some tangible manifestation or him to pop up like a human being and like, see that I need to see something tangible. Well, in that case, you might not ever see that in terms of the one who is understood to have created all this stuff. You might not ever physically see him with your eyes, but that does not mean he doesn't exist. We're going back to the Hebrew word panim. And what does the Hebrew word panim carry? The face, but not primarily facial features. It's the panim is communicating the orientation, the relational presence, not a person's anatomy. And again, do I believe the creator actually has a foot? Well, I don't. I also don't think he has an esophagus. I don't. But again, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I've literally watched people debate this for hours. That's not something I'm going to debate with people. If they want to go around believing it, that's fine. I'm not discrediting that because I can't prove that he don't have a foot. I'm saying if he walked in the garden, he have some type of something, but I'm saying I don't think it's the same thing as mine. And again, just being duplicative, when the text says in Genesis that he made man in his image and likeness, which we skipped over, but I don't think he made man with 5 fingers and then he's has 5 fingers because as the elders taught us, a chimpanzee got 5 fingers and a nose and eyes. So does the Almighty look like a chimpanzee? Well, I'm not under that impression. So whatever his foot is, can he present himself in that form? I'm not restricting him. But I'm saying if the heaven of heavens can't contain him, I, I don't think whatever form he presents himself in is the total essence of who he is as an entity. And hopefully that's clear. Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5. And when we look at Matthew chapter 5, we're going to look at verses 8 and 9. Matthew 5, verse 8 and 9.
I got it.
Yes, sir.
Blessed are the clean in heart, because they shall see Elohim.
Okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. See, Exodus was talking about all this stuff about seeing him. Psalm said, seek him and pretty much look on his face. John said nobody has seen him. And now the text again is saying, blessed are the pure in heart, because they shall do what?
They'll see Elohim.
Man or woman, how are you going to see Elohim if you're pure in heart? All of his ways and his methods are going to make eminent sense to you when you become pure in heart. You'll stop asking the question, why did such and such happen to such and such? Or why did it even happen to me? Well, I mean, once you become pure in heart, you begin to see your creator. Because otherwise, if you're not pure in heart, in my experiences and estimation with people, you become hardened in heart. And things that happen to you, you're a victim of, not the Creator is bringing you through to uh, improve your interaction with Him or to draw you to Him. No, everything is blame the Creator. It's His fault that I'm whatever, late on my housing bills or late on my such and such, or I don't have such and such. Well, that's not pure in heart. But it's saying, blessed are the pure in heart, for you shall see your maker, Elohim. And then verse 9 said, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of Elohim. So the text is telling us, how do we see him? Well, in one sense, it shares when we are pure in heart. That's how we see him. And it says that blessed are the pure in heart, for we shall see him. So we're examining the thought or the concept of seeing the Creator. And again, for some people, they are looking upon, well, no, I need to see his foot and I need to see his fingertips. And I mean, what color is his eyes? And, there was a time, just for transparency, there was a time until, again, I sat around some elders and they were teaching, etc. I thought, and nobody had to tell me this, but I thought in my own naive mind that the creator of the heavens was about 6'4", about 280, because I understood I was made in his image. So I'm thinking now the Bible doesn't say that. It don't give him a height at all. It doesn't give him a weight at all. But that is a conception and a construct of our limited mind. We start to think, well, no, he's one of us. No, he's not one of us. Whatever he is, meaning when he says Ayer Ashe or, you know, Aye Asher Ashe or Ahaya Asha Ahaya, meaning I will be what I will be. I am the self-existent one. Like, see, I have a timestamp on myself. I came on the planet, I'm going to leave the planet. That's all preordained. But the pure in heart, they shall see Elohim. You shall see him. So the panim in Yah's face, the panim, which is the face, and to see Yah's face, right? So let's take a look at a few scriptures on that concept. Psalms chapter 27. Psalms 27. And we're talking about seeing our maker. And again, this is a study. You can take the scriptures, you can add them to your own study. But we're talking about seeing the creator. So Psalms chapter 27,
I'm there.
if you can pick it up at verses 6 through 9.
Okay. Verse 6. And now my head is lifted up above my enemies all around me. And I slaughter in his tent with slaughters of sounding. I sing, yes, I sing praises to Yahuwah. Hear, O Yahuwah, when I cry with my voice, and show me favor, and answer me. To my heart you have said, seek my face. Your face, Yahuwah, I seek. Verse 9. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in displeasure. You have been my help. Do not leave me nor forsake me, O Elohim of my deliverance.
Now, verse 8 is saying it's giving us instruction to do what? Seek his face.
Yes.
And the question is, like, how do we seek his face? Well, Matthew just said to be pure in heart, you shall see him. And if you see him, quote, you see his face. But as I'm saying, it's the equivalent of somebody saying, do you see what I'm saying? No, there are no images coming out of your mouth when you're saying, I see what you're saying. You can't see what a person's saying, but you can comprehend them. You can understand. You can relate to them. In that same way, he's telling you to seek his face. Relate to him as your maker. What does he want with you? Think about that. Why in the world, or why in the multiverse, or why in the galaxies? And rumor is, by science, there are multiple galaxies. Why does someone who has the ability, whatever the entity is, I'm saying like I can't, I say God or Yah or Elohim, but I'm saying them are them are like crumbs of words compared to trying to describe what this being is. But if you can make, let's say, 300 galaxies, why are you concerned with me taking off the seventh day from work? Why is that your concern? Why don't you finish making more galaxies? Why are you concerned what I eat and put in my body? But if we're going to seek his face, then we're seeking his instruction. We're seeking proximity to him. We're seeking his ways and his methods of doing things. We're seeking to submit to him because whatever entity can make a galaxy and a big disk in the sky that's hotter and like it burns me from down here. So I'm saying if I was, I don't know, 30 million miles closer to it, they say the Earth is 93 million miles away from the sun. I don't know who measures this stuff. Whatever the case, if I was that much more proximate to this entity that we know as Yah or Elohim or whatever, I mean, we just don't have, we use sounds to try to concoct to be like, oh yeah, we know his name. Okay, whatever this being is, us being proximate to him is us seeking his face because he's intimately concerned with the affairs of his creation. Intimately. And the text is telling us seek his face. Well, how do we seek his face? Let's look at Psalms chapter 80 and verse 3. All right, y'all, don't get shy.
I got it. I
Psalms
got it.
80 and verse 3. Yes, sir.
Verse 3. Cause us to turn back, O
Well,
Elohim.
start
And
at verse 1.
okay.
Start at verse 1 for me.
Verse 1. Give ear, O shepherd of Yisrael, who leads Joseph like a flock, who dwells between the cherubim, shine forth.
All right, so give ear, like please pay attention to me. Okay, keep going.
Verse 2. Before Ephraim, Benjamin, and Manasseh, stir up your might and come and save us.
Come save us. Like we need your help. This is a cry. We're seeking your face. Keep going.
Verse 3. Cause us to turn back, O Elohim, and cause your face to shine, that we might be saved.
Okay, so just for clarity's sake, if he shines his face, then we're going to be saved. Whatever shining his face is, which we're going to interrogate just a little bit, then we'll be saved. Well, let's look at seeing his panim or seeing his face and it shining upon us. Let's prop over, let's pop over or join with the prophet Yeshayahu or Isaiah chapter 54. And we only have a few more texts. I committed to this being relatively short, but Isaiah chapter 54.
I got it.
Isaiah 54 and then verse 4 when you're
Isaiah 54 and 4. Do not fear, for you shall not be put to shame, nor hurt. You shall not be humiliated. For the shame of your youth you shall forget, and not remember the reproach of your widowhood anymore.
Now, he's talking about his people, Israel. Now, they've done quite a few things that they should not have done. And he's telling them that, I'm going to clean y'all up, essentially. So don't be ashamed and don't be afraid and don't be confounded. Things are going to get better for you. Okay, that's verse 4. Verse 5.
For your maker is your husband, Yahuwah of hosts is his name,
Mm-hmm.
and the set apart one of Israel is your redeemer. He is called the Elohim of all the earth. For Yahuwah has called you like a woman forsaken and grieved in spirit, like a wife of youth when you were refused, declares your Elohim. For a little while I have forsaken you.
So
For
for a little while, meaning to the promised seed, I wasn't even engaging with y'all. Y'all cried and y'all moaned and y'all whined and y'all said y'all was gonna do the right thing and y'all didn't. So I left y'all alone. Essentially, I divorced you, put you away, get out of my house. I don't want to see you anymore. So a little while, he said, that's the way I engage with you because I was angry with you. Okay. Now, what else did he say? Verse
verse 8
7.
or verse 7, for a little while I have forsaken you, but with great compassion I shall gather you. In an overflow of wrath, I hid my face from you for a moment, but with everlasting loving commitment, I shall have compassion on you, say Yahuwah, your
So
Redeemer.
so he's saying for a little while he hid his face because he was angry. So if you ever played that game with a small infant or toddler, peekaboo, peekaboo, and you kind of put your hand on your face and then let your face out, is this what he's saying? He like hid his face and then peekaboo the people? No, that's not exactly what he's explaining. The intimate acquaintance of being attached to your maker is tied and coupled with you doing the right thing. And when you did the wrong thing, it was the equivalent of him hiding his face from you. It was the equivalent of him not causing his face to shine upon you. It was the equivalent of your grandmother or your mother giving you that stare, and you know what that stare meant when they stared at you a certain way, like you acted up in public, and they just looked at you. And you knew when you got home, you knew what was going to happen, especially if you were raised around an old school grandmother or a grandfather or mother. You knew what was going to happen when they gave you that look. That's the face. Now let's look at Isaiah chapter 59. Isaiah chapter 59 in verse 1 through 3. Isaiah
I'll,
59.
I'll take that one. Verse 1. Look, the hand of Yahuwah has not become too short to save, nor his ear too heavy to hear.
Now, what does saving and hearing have to do with? Well, you only save someone when they're in trouble. You hear and listen to someone when they're communicating. So his hand or his ability is not short. Like he's not going to run out of opportunities or mechanisms to deliver you. Okay, so that's what that's explaining. But what caused the separation between the nation of Israel and, for that matter, you yourself and the one who made water and pineapples, and I say all the time, trees that bleed maple syrup and pears and strawberries, and I'm sure that y'all have not had it this week. But go get yourself a piece of red snapper and put some hot sauce on it. I mean, cook it and season it up and see the glory of your creator because it just don't taste like salmon, and salmon is equally as good. Okay. So he's saying the people, they did things wrong. Now, what did he say in verse 2?
Verse 2. But your crookednesses have separated you from your Elohim, and your sins have hidden his face from you from hearing.
So when the people commit iniquity, when the people commit injustices, when the people commit gross atrocities, he hides his face. It's their sin who causes him to hide his face. This is why the Mashiach was saying, blessed are the pure in heart, or those who have no guile, or those who are not bent on doing the wrong thing, because they're going to comprehend or engage or be in the presence of the Creator. But I'm saying I see all the time people who don't know the Maker. I mean, scroll on some type of YouTube video and just listen to people's conversations. They don't know the Creator. Their iniquity has caused him to hide his face. Now, If his eyes are in every place beholding the good and the evil, and he sees and knows all things, is his face really hidden? Is he playing peekaboo with people? I'm saying it's the same thing Isaiah is saying it is. It's the iniquity or transgressions that cause people not to see the Creator. And people used to ask me, so I had to study it. Why does if God exists, then why do what? What's your question? Well, why do infants die and such and such? Like, so I went to go study the Bible and come up with an answer for it. Because people think that the Creator is like them. Because you think your way is his way, and you're saying that no death should exist or he's unjust. That's the you're claiming supremacy over the creator. That's their argument. Well, he's wrong by allowing negative things to happen. Well, I'm saying this is why I spent 4 or 5 or 6 weeks and even posted it online, a study on the ways of Yah. See, once mankind made a decision to separate himself through their sin and iniquity, mankind is the only part of his creation that has free will. I'm saying trees don't have that. You're not going to go in a winter climate, unless it's like a pine tree, and see a tree that still is bearing fruit. I mean, maybe like I'm talking about like apples, but I'm talking about like leaves and stuff like that. No, they fall off exactly when he tells them to fall off. They soak up all their energy, and the reason leaves shed on trees is because the leaf dismantles everything it needs to preserve itself. Sorry, the tree dismantles everything it needs to preserve itself and store up water and energy to get through the winter, and then it regenerates itself in the spring. Complete obedience till its maker. But what is Isaiah saying? The reason his face caused not to shine on the people. It's their iniquity. They made a different choice. This is the Torah. And just so you know, Isaiah is the Torah also. Because when the prophets speak, it's just like Genesis is speaking or Moses is speaking. So it's their sins that have separated them. Let's go to Second Chronicles chapter 17. We got a few more texts after this. Second Chronicles chapter 17. We're talking about seeing the Creator.
That one ought to be a memory verse, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean, we shouldn't even have to go to it. I mean, it's songs, glory to glory to. I mean, if my
Right.
people, we should all know that one, right? But Second
I,
Chronicles chapter 7 and verse
Right.
14.
I'll take
Yeah.
that one. Oh, you got it,
Yes, sir.
Jim.
Okay. Yeah. Second Chronicles 7:14. And my people upon whom my name is called shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their evil ways. Then I shall hear from the heavens, forgive their sin and heal their land.
He's going to forgive your sin. Well, what is seeking his face, his panim? Well, the prophet Isaiah just said, behold, your iniquities have caused me to hide your face. Well, this matches up perfectly with Chronicles, who's saying, if you turn from your wicked ways, which Isaiah was just indicting you for, and seek his face, then he shall what? Hear from heaven, forgive your sins, and heal your land. I mean, you have to seek his face, and seeking his face is not something like, oh, I'm gonna go around the globe looking for his anatomy, looking for his size, I don't know, 27 shoe and his individual fingerprint. No, I need to see a sign before I believe I should what? Keep the Sabbath, keep the feast days, like just simple obedience. That's what he said, do it. And I'm saying do it with all your heart for a period of time and measure it against what your life was looking at before you start doing it. And I'm saying for me, every time Yah wins, every time. Genesis chapter 16, we're seeing his face is attached to his face shining on you, which is attached to your pure heart. And if you are not walking in that purity, then you got a little trouble in your hand.
I'm there.
Yes, sir. Now, this is the case where Abraham took his handmaid at his wife behest. It looked like he wanted to fuss with her, and then, his wife felt the way about the handmaid and was putting her out. So let's see what happens here in Better Sheet. Chapter 16, verses 6, and I'm only concentrating on 6 and 13. Now, if you want to read the whole thing, please feel free at another time, but uh, Better Sheet 16 and verse 6, and then skip down to verse 13.
Verse 6. And Abram said to Sarai, See, your female servant is in your hand. Do to her what is good in your eyes. And Sarah treated her harshly, and she fled from her presence.
So Hagar was being treated real harshly. Get up, get up. It's 3 in the morning. Wash the dishes. Like, vacuum the floor, whatever they were dealing with, right? And she didn't like it. So Hagar was like, listen, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. And she took her child and just absconded, disappeared, ran away, fled. Verse 13, sorry.
Verse 13. And she called the name of Yahuwah, who spoke to her. You are the El who sees, for she said, Even here have I seen after him who sees me.
Okay, so she's saying she saw the creator. This is what she's saying. Like, he saw me, he saw my condition, and essentially I saw him. Like, she had the experience of the maker in this running away because the creator said, no, 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 you're doing the wrong thing. Go back, submit to her, just go through it. It's something that I'm doing for you. And this also tells me this because you have people who make up these narratives like the mighty one of creation only talks to Israel. Well, he's right here talking to an Egyptian, and the Egyptian communicates with him, and the Egyptian hears back from him, and the Egyptian submits to what he asks to be done. So every time I bring stuff up like this to people, well, listen, sir, I'm not doing that with you. I'm not. Do he only speak to Israel, or do we find evidence that he speak to other people? Because I tell people all the time, Abraham was not an Israelite, nor was Isaac. All right. First Israelite was until Jacob when he changed his name to Israel and his children and offspring. So that's Genesis chapter 16. Let me see if we can go. Oh, yeah, we'll read these last uh couple. I'll skip that one, but Hebrews chapter 12. Yeah, I'll go to these last few. Hebrews chapter 12, because it already appeared on the screen. Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 14.
I'm there.
All right, go
Hebrews
ahead,
chapter
Wendy.
12, verse 14. Okay.
Mhm.
Pursue peace with all, and pursue a partness without which no one shall see the master.
Okay, so pursue peace with all. So follow peace and engage in peace with all people. And then he says, I think it says, pursue what? What does it say in the text?
Pursue, at least in the scriptures, 2009 says, and pursue a partness without which no one shall
Yeah,
see the master.
uprightness or holiness or righteousness, right? Be a pure heart, right? So you can't be tied to all the ways of the world and see the Creator. So you can't go do all evil and see the Creator. You can't. In order to see him, you got to be set apart. In order to see him, your heart has to be pure. In order to see him, you have to engage in his right rulings. And then he makes his abode. This is what Yeshua said. He will come in and make his abode with you, meaning he will domicile in your very mind. He'll set up his living room in your mind, his flat screen view of the world, his recliner chair, and then he will begin to direct your life for the most part in appropriate steps and procedures until you decide to take the wheel from him and say, no, I can figure it out for myself. And when you try to figure it out for yourself, you're going to go wrong. So this last part sounds blasphemous, but just bear with me. It's not blasphemy. The question is, how is Yah similar to idols? That sounds crazy. Now, he's not similar to idols at all. I agree. I'm just using the language that the Bible is using. So, how is he similar, right? Well, notice the correlation between how he behaves and how idols consistently behave because they don't have any choice. They're just idols, they're just statues. But notice his behavior. It needs to be our last three texts, I believe. Acts chapter 17. Acts chapter 17. Now, notice this comparison that's made in the book of Acts. That sounds blasphemous, so just bear with me because I'm always have some type of explanation here.
You want to
Okay.
start at verse 16?
Yes, sir. Acts 17 and verse 16.
Acts 17, verse 16. Paul at Athens. Now, while Paul waited for them at Athens, his spirit was stirred in him when he saw the city wholly given to idolatry.
Now, the city was given to idols. Now, notice the comparison that Shaul begins to make. The whole city was given to idol worship. Okay, keep going.
Acts 17, verse 17. Therefore he disputed in the synagogue with the Jews and with the devout persons, and in the market daily with them that met with him. Then certain philosophers of the Epicureans and of the Stoics encountered him, and some said, what will this babbler say? Others some, he seemeth to be a setter forth of strange gods, because he preached unto them that Yahusha and the resurrection. And they took him and brought him into Areopagus, saying, may we know what is this new doctrine whereof you speakest? For you bring certain strange things into our ears. We would know therefore what these things mean. For all of the Athenians and strangers which were there spent all of their time in nothing else but to either tell or to hear some new thing. Verse 17. Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, ye men of Athens, I perceive that in all things you are too superstitious.
Now, notice here, this is the comparison. He's already said the city was wholly given to idolatry. Now, he's going to make this point that the creator of all that exists, they ain't have nothing but idols there. But notice here, keep going.
Acts 17, verse 23. For as I passed by and beheld your devotions, I found an altar with this inscription, to the unknown God, whom therefore you ignorantly worship, and I declare him unto you. God made the world and all of the things therein, saying that he is the master of the heaven and the earth, and dwells not in temples made with hands.
Mm-hmm.
Neither is worshipped with men's hands, as though he needs anything, seeing he gives all life and breath to all things.
Keep going.
He has made of one blood all nations of men to dwell on the face of the earth. And he has determined the times and before appointed and the bounds of their habitation, that they should seek the master, and if happily they might fail after him and find him, though he be not far away from every one of us.
All right, keep going.
For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of your poets have said, for we are also his offspring. For as much as we are the offspring of Elua, we ought not to think of the Godhead is like unto gold, or silver, or stone, graven by art and by a man's device.
All right. So he's saying we shouldn't think of him like that because he's nothing like that. But notice the similarities in this one aspect. Now, I'm not saying the creator's idol. If you watching now or listening now, get that out of your mind. I'm making a clear comparison that is made to the scripture. Now, notice this. Go to Psalms chapter 115. So we know that he's not made with hands. He's not an image. He's not stone or wood. This is why he said, look, don't make anything, any likeness of anything that's in the heaven above, the earth beneath, and the water under the earth. Don't compare me to any of that stuff. Psalms chapter 115, verses 1 through 5.
I got it. Um, Psalms 115, starting at 5. They
Verse
have
1.
mouth, they have mouths, but they do not speak.
Start 115, verse 1.
I'm sorry. Starting at verse 5. Um, verse 1. Not to us, O Yahuwah, not to us. For your name give esteem, for your loving commitment, for your truth. Why would the nations say, where now is their Elohim? But our Elohim is in the heavens. Whatever pleased him, he has done. Their idols are silver and gold, the works of men's hands. They have mouths, but they do not speak. They have eyes, but they do not see.
Okay. Now, does the Creator have eyes? Does he have a mouth? And does he also not see? Well, let's skip over to the book of Amos. And I just want to make this comparison because we're talking about seeing the Creator. And I want to make a comparison of when he's unable to hear or see. Just like the text would say with idols. Now, he's not an idol and really should never be compared to. But take notice of this similarity in the way he responds, in the way that the prophets always claim that idols respond. Amos chapter 5 and verse 18. Or, yeah, 5 and 18.
I'm there.
Yes, sir.
Verse 18. Woe to you who are longing for the day of Yahuwah. What does the day of Yahuwah mean to you? It is darkness and not light, as when a man flees from a lion, and a bear shall meet him, or entered his house, rested his hand on the wall, and a serpent shall bite him. Verse 20. Is not the day of Yahuwah darkness and not light? Is it not very dark, with no brightness in it? I have hated, I have despised your festivals, and I am not pleased with your assemblies. Though you offer me ascending offerings and your grain offerings, I do not accept them, nor do I look on your fat and peace offerings. Verse 23. Take away from me the noise of your songs, for I do not hear the sound of your stringed instruments.
So is he really not hearing the sounds of their string instruments? See, idols can't hear. And he's saying, look, I don't hear you. And he's saying, I don't even see your feast days. I don't acknowledge anything that you're doing. Why? Because your heart isn't pure, because it's attached to your iniquities. And that is probably, and I'm stretching here just for argument's sake, that is the similarity where idols, if you worship a statue, that statue is never going to talk to you, ever. Sometimes people teaching, oh, some statues is going to come to life. I was just listening to this guy, some preacher on the internet, talking about some statue coming to life and he's quoting Revelations. And I'm like, man, oh, it's not enough time. It's not enough time to correct all of this stuff. But some people just shouldn't be saying stuff based on the Bible. Go learn first. Sit under some learned people. Just don't make statements. And everybody in the comment sections is, see, I know he's teaching the word. Whew, rough out here. But what is the comparison here? Just as if you talk to a statue and it's not going to talk back to you. When you walking in the ways of wrong, the Creator is saying, look, I don't hear you. I don't see you. I don't engage with you at all. And this is what we are examining today. Seeing the face of Elohim. How do we see his face? So I said this one will be quick. That is today's study. And I appreciate you all. See if you have any thoughts, comments, or questions. Hallelujah.